So hello, I'm sorry. Hello there, world. Hello there, world. This is the beginning of something big and new. Actually, not really, but we're going to start from scratch as usual. Since like half a year, I'm doing the same thing. When I start a stream, I don't think about what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to have to start over. So, hello there, good people of the world. Tonight we're going to do the first leg of the Pacific Edge tour for FlightSimSafaris.com. It's relatively short notice, so there is probably not going to be anyone who will follow along this time. When I was still doing the ice, fire, air stuff, it was we had a couple of regulars that would follow along, but I only announced the start of the tour today because I simply have time tonight to do it, and sometimes this I cannot really predict when it's going to be possible for me to do this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about what's actually going to happen. So, Edge of the Pacific, I'll leave a link in the description, is another of those tours that we did in the past with Ice, Fire, Air. The first one that I actually did was Flight of Passage, which was modeled after a book from Rinker Buck. I'm also going to post a link in the description of this video, of this recording. So we had Flight of Passage, which was about two boys flying from coast to coast in 1966. Then we had the Cannibal Queen tour, which is currently suspended, but I'm probably going to pick it up at a later time. The Cannibal Queen is also a book, and that's a story of a guy who owns a Boeing Stairman, which he christened the Cannibal Queen for reasons. And then we also did Lord of the Wings, which was a tour above New Zealand to explore all the Lord of the Rings, or many of the Lord of the Rings sets that were actually being used during filming of the 6 Lord of the Rings movies. So these tours are all the information material, the flight plans and stuff like that. It's always available from the website FlightSimSafaris.com, link in the description. And so I had this Pacific Edge tour planned for quite a while, several weeks now, but I had to make a longer break for a variety of reasons. So now we're going to actually start it, and it is going to lead us from Alaska, actually Dutch Harbor, which is here at the Aleutian Islands right here, and we're going to fly the entire western coastline from North America to South America, and then once we've reached the area which is called Terra del Fuego, the land of fire, something like that, I would say, or I don't know what the exact translation for this is, but once we've reached the Tierra del Fuego, we're gonna hop over to the Falklands, and the tour is going to end at Mount Pleasant on the Falklands. So this is probably going to take a couple of weeks until we actually end up on the Falklands, depending on how much time I have to do this. But I'm very much looking forward to flying this entire route. And I'm going to do recordings as usual on YouTube. I have created a new YouTube account for FlightSimSafaris.com. I had to clean up mess with the other account because there was so much stuff in there that nobody ever watched or wanted to watch, and so I decided to start from scratch with the Safari thing. And here we are. So we're going to start with Pacific Edge, and I think it's going to be great. I'm not sure if other people are going to like it, but I'm going to like it. I'm going to stream about it. I'm going to put away some recordings in case somebody's interested. So this is going to be awesome, I think. Let's put away the map for now and actually set up the whole endeavor. We are going to do this in Flight Simulator 2024 because I think I've done a couple of hours flying in free flight mode, and I have had the feeling that if I'm not flying in very crowded areas, the performance is quite okay. The stability hasn't been bad. I didn't have any crashes or anything like that. So, and the fact that there are a lot more people who are currently using 2024 as far as I can determine, counting in all the people who use Xboxes, I think the audience is going to be bigger right now than if I still use 2020. And since I have found out that the Kodiak 100, which is from Simworks Studios, which is my favorite plane currently, works quite well in FS 2024, there's nothing keeping me anymore from using it. It's still a piece of crap software, and it's still a far from finished product, but it's good enough for me, at least right now, to actually use it. So let's go ahead and choose Pato, Unalaska. This is where we are going to start this tour, and it's also called Dutch Harbor. I think these are historical reasons. I didn't look it up, but well, actually, why not? We could quickly look it up and make sure that we understand what's going on here. Wikipedia, Dutch Harbor, and then I'm going to show you Dutch Harbor. So, is a harbor on Amernac Islands in Unalaska. It was the location of the Battle of Dutch Harbor in June 1942, when the Imperial Japanese Navy attacked it just 7 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor. They were that was bold. To this day, it remains one of the few sites in the United States to be subjected to an aerial bombardment by a foreign power. Okay, so is now home of an important fishing industry. So, but that does not necessarily explain why it is called Dutch, where the Dutch comes from. So, let's just say if we can find anything about that. Pleasure Island, post-World War, deadliest catch, blah, blah, blah. Drezhnin, the commander of the Russian ship Zachary, is credited for discovering the deep water harbor known as Dutch Harbor. Is located blah, more precisely on blah, mile on Spit. Dutch Harbor is close as richest fishing in the world. Okay, and it is ice free. When the Russians exploited the Aleut, it is used Dutch Harbor. Well, it still doesn't say. You know what we're going to do? We're going to ask artificial intelligence. Currently, I'm quite fond of Llama 3.3. Why is Dutch Harbor called Dutch? Let's see what's coming in. Located on the blah blah, the name Dutch does not refer to the Netherlands or the Dutch people, but rather it is believed to be a misnomer. The harbor was originally named Deutsch by Russian fur trader and explorer Vitus Bering, who worked for the Dutch-based Russian-American company. However, over time the name Deutsch, which means German in German, I should know, was misinterpreted as Dutch. Okay. Is that true? We're going to ask a different, I don't trust AIs. Let's talk to GDB4O Mini. Why is Dutch Harbor called Dutch? If it's the same answer, I'm going to believe it. Historical connection to the Dutch maritime exploration of the region. The name Dutch in Dutch Harbor does not refer to the Netherlands directly, but rather to historical context of exploration. That is an entirely different answer. Let's see what kind of answer we're gonna get from this Mistral. Why is Dutch? You can ask 3 large language models and you're gonna get 4 answers. Why is Dutch Harbor called Dutch? Oh, there's another guy. He's named after the Dutch explorer Captain Hendrik, who visited the area in 1741. Comes from Dutch Republic, which was a significant maritime power. Dutch and... I'm sorry. That is another answer. This is not funny, people. I mean, the AI stuff, it's just not funny. Why is Dutch Harbor called Dutch? A Dutch vessel. That's another story. As I said, ask 3 different AIs and you're going to get 4 answers. Misnaming Stug, I don't know. Okay, there's something obviously where Dutch explorers have some kind of they have something to do with it, but it's not clear what actually happened. So we're gonna have to content with that. Ramp 4, which one is it? Let's see. Set as departure. I like that one better. We're gonna use the Kodiak 100 with Tundra tires, but no, we can fuel it up from the cockpit. Okay, we're gonna use live weather and live time. There we go. But we're gonna allow all players, save and back. So let's go ahead and load up the simulator. There's my Kodiak 100 checklist. It's an abbreviated, I don't know if you've seen something. No, there is actually, every plane has some kind of checklist. The bigger ones have longer checklists, and the original Kodiak, or there are several very nice checklists, for example, on flightsim.to. These checklists have been assembled over time by people that are a lot more competent than I am. And what I basically did is create a checklist that is quite a bit shorter than the average checklist. It fits on one letter page, and it contains all the necessary items that I need in Flight Simulator. I'm not going to go overboard with this because, I mean, it's still a simulator. If if you wanted to fly a real plane, that's just something different. So we've still got a couple of items to go through. First of all, actually I don't need it until we've started up the whole thing. We're gonna get rid of the yokes. It's an hour away anyway. As you can see, I have my own yoke right there. It's a cheap Logitech, which I had to mod because the Logitech stuff is just unbearably bad. So there we go. The Kodiak 100 is pretty similar to the Cessna 208 Caravan, Grand Caravan. It's a little, as far as I know, it's a little bit shorter, a little bit narrower, and a little bit lighter. But it is actually, and the wingspan is a little bit less than that of the Grand Caravan, but so the Kodiak is a better choice if you're going to do a lot of bush flying on very short runways, because it's got you can land and take off from shorter runways than with a Grand Caravan. It's not that much, but sometimes it is just it's just enough that it makes sense to choose the Kodiak over the Grand Caravan. And I've decided that I like it very much, because the model that was created by SimWorks Studios is very, very nice. It's got lots of nice little details. You can open up the doors and stuff. There are some things that you just can't do with the default models from Flight Simulator. So, for example, the armrests and all that stuff. You can even go ahead and adjust the position of the vents, the climate of the air ducts, air vents, and so forth. So let's close the door again. We're gonna get the show on the road. And the first thing that we're gonna do is start the avionics and the aux bus and that one. That one at first. There we go. We can turn on the beacon already and the strobe and the nav, because the weather is not that good. We're gonna turn on icing already. Then let's confirm this one and open the fuel valves. And then turn on auxiliary fuel pump, and let's go ahead and start up the engine. We're gonna have to wait until the NG value is above 20 to make sure that this thing does not blow up once we start the engine, once we introduce our fuel. So I'm slowly but steadily introducing the fuel, and we're gonna go to a low idle setting. ITT peaks out below 600, which is the reason for this is that the outside temperatures are very low and this thing hasn't been warmed up. So we can turn off the ignition and the starter and the auxiliary fuel pump, and we can go ahead and put prop full forward. Next thing that we can do is get some information from the automated weather observation system. Let's tune into this particular frequency and see what's going on.
Temperature 3. Dew point 0. Altimeter 2935.
Oh, I'm getting to...
Density altitude minus 800 feet. Tom Madsen, Dutch Harbor, Airport, automated weather observation. 1856 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, view at 1600 feet. Broken at 3000 feet. Temperature 3. Dew point 0.
Okay.
Altimeter 2935. Density altitude minus 800 feet. Tom Madsen, Dutch Harbor, Airport, automated weather observation. 1856 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, view at 1600 feet. Broken at 3000 feet. Temperature 3. Dew point 0. Altimeter 2935. Density altitude -800 feet. Tom Madsen, Dutch Harbor,
Okay,
Airport,
that's good.
automated
More
weather
information.
observation. 1856 Zulu.
Now we
Wind
can
calm.
switch to
Visibility
the,
10. Sky conditions, view at 1600 feet.
to the local frequency, to the common traffic advisory frequency, because this airport does not have a tower. We're gonna, by the way, we're gonna do this entire tour with Say Intentions in the background, because I want to know how it works in the real world and in real settings. And we're gonna do VFR all the time, except probably in some cases when the weather is so bad that we don't have a choice but to use IFR. But for most of the tour, we're gonna do VFR. And since, to my knowledge at least, SayIntentions is the only software add-on currently supporting VFR, that makes sense to use this. I have to reset. Oh, come on, leave me alone. There we go, reset. So let's make our announcement. I need something else. I need my Explorer window. Where is my desktop? Stuff. There we go. I've got it.
Scout 123 Mike Whiskey over midfield, left traffic runway 27, touch and go.
I have got an Excel file that helps me keep track of things. I'm going to enter most of those values in an Excel sheet. And then that's just easier to do. So right now we're at Dutch Harbor. Our call sign is Kodiak November Delta Foxtrot Delta, as far as I remember. Yes it is. There we go. We're going to do VFR. We are not going to give a final destination today. I'm not sure how far we're going to go today. We'll see about that. But we will load up. Actually, if it's possible, I don't really know. To load up a flight plan from... we could go ahead and try that with the electronic flight book. There we go. I haven't been using this at all. Aircraft settings, flight planner. You know what? We don't really need it. I have my flight plan in little nav map that's actually good enough. So, but what we can do is... No, we're not going to use the GPS for now. The only thing that is unfortunate actually is that I can't get weather into the GPS, into the Garmin system, because this option just doesn't exist. I don't know why. In 2020 it actually works, but in this particular version it doesn't. That's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So, let's go ahead and do the non-towered airport routine. Dutch Harbor traffic, Kodiak, November Delta Foxtrot Delta, taxiing to runway. Let's take a look. We don't have any wind. Runway number 31. Eastbound departure. Dutch Harbor. Okay, let's reduce the parking brake and go on high idle. Let's make sure the controls work. There they do. Brakes are working, so we're good to go. You, sir, are in the way. It's fortunate that these guys don't mind if you run them over. Let us go ahead and... where the hell am I going? Is this the right way? No, it's not.
Got 123 Mike Whiskey left downwind, runway 27.
Oh, Genghis Khan. I'm not sure where to actually enter the runway. Wait a minute. So there we are. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn to the right a little bit. No, there it is. That's actually the start of the runway. And we're gonna take off from 31, which should be this end. So here we are. It looks as if there's a little bit of snow and icing on the runway. It shouldn't affect us, but when you're actually landing this airplane on in these conditions, you're going to have to use reverse, otherwise you're not going to be able to stop. Flaps 20. Dutch Harbor, Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot Delta is taking off runway 31, eastbound departure, Dutch Harbor. So let's see if the brakes are working. Yes, they are working. Now let's take off. That is the start of the grand adventure. Trim it back a little bit. And this thing is practically taking off by itself. Still no wind. Oh, I'm happy. This is cool. A new, real, extraordinary, epic tour. This is what I like to do most. And a little bit of jazz music in the background in case you haven't noticed yet. Reduce the sound of the flight sim a bit so it doesn't get in the way. So let's make a right hand turn to a heading of about 60 degrees, and we can already prepare the autopilot. We're gonna go to an altitude of about 8,000 for now. I hate it. I definitely are gonna have to get a new yoke system. Vertical speed, let's go to 1200 feet. And we're gonna use heading, so let's reset the heading to our current course. Adding activated, yeah, down to activated.
X-ray entering right downwind for runway 14.
And autopilot activated.
Chitabria 7296 Alpha, currently on a 3-mile final for runway 14. Can you expedite your approach?
I'll speed up and make a quick approach.
Appreciate it. We'll hold short until you clear the runway.
So we're gonna climb with a, we can actually raise the flaps now, bit by bit. We're gonna have to, if we want to climb as effectively as possible, we should remain at a speed of about 110 knots, so we can increase the climbing rate, let's say to 150 to 1,500 feet per minute. And let's raise the flaps entirely. $1,600 feet per minute, and this thing is still accelerating. So you can imagine what kind of climbing performance this thing really has. It's awesome. I mean, we're empty basically. Oh, I forgot to fuel up. We should go ahead and add some more fuel. Where is it? There we go. I don't know. Well, actually, we can fuel up underway. So we're gonna have to turn left now to a heading of about 58 degrees. We can set the heading to that value. There we go. Doesn't have to be absolutely precise today. This is a joyride. So our first waypoint will be the airport of Alotan, which is on Atkins Island, and after that we're gonna cross over to Cape Sarashev and so forth and so forth and so on. There actually are a couple of rules that you should keep in mind. First of all, climb and cruise, we're at 2,200 RPMs, and we should be using, for climb and cruise, we can go up to, if we want to 1,670 foot torques, but we're at 1,400, which is way enough for what we're going to do. And once we start to cruise at our altitude of 8,000, we can reduce the RPM to 2,000 and fly a little bit more efficiently, like we do now. Let's go ahead and reduce the torques to the RPM to 2,000. There we go. Something like that. And now we can reduce the torques to about 1,350, something like that. So we will have a fuel flow which is less than 300, which is pretty good, pretty efficient. And then we can just cruise along. Now, the flight plan that I created was mentioning was calculating the duration of each of the legs with a speed of about 150 knots ground speed. We're doing 157 knots ground speed right now, so we're going to be a little bit quicker, and that's all right, but it's still going to take us a very long time to do this tour. So I intentionally omitted all the stuff with landing lights and so forth, because we're still in the simulator. Checklist after climb, flaps up, 110 knots climbing speed, cruise, landing lights off, we didn't even use them. So we're at an altitude of 8,000, which means that we can use 2,000 RPM at 1220 torques. We're at 1250, that's alright. So let's see, checklist complete. And on we go. Unfortunately, we have a lot of clouds, so we won't be able to see much of the landscape yet, but I don't mind. It's nice to fly above the clouds. We're going to have windows to look down to the ocean and so forth. We don't have no passengers except our weird co-pilot. I thought I'd turn him off, but he's still there. Nothing I can do about it. I've never been able to actually turn it off. I don't know why. I've never been able to turn off the co-pilot. I tried to reduce the weight on the seat to 0. I have tried to turn off the co-pilot in the settings. There are certain settings for this, but they just won't listen. The system just won't care. Whatever kind of setting I'm using, I still got the autopilot. So let's talk to control. I'm not sure which one this is, but let's just talk. Control, this is Kodiak, November Delta, Foxtrot Delta, at 8,000 feet, about 10 miles northeast of Dutch Harbor, requesting flight following. So let's go to the transponder setting. It's going to ask us about transponder.
Kodiak, Delta, Foxtrot, Delta, Squawk, 5435 and ident.
5434 and ident, Delta, Foxtrot, Delta. 5435 and ident. There we go.
Kodiak, Delta, Foxtrot, Delta, radar contact, 22 east of Tom Madsen, Dutch Harbor Airport at 7900 feet, heading 056, Unalaska altimeter 29.29er.
Altimeter and 29.29er for Delta, Foxtrot, Delta. So
Southwest 653, descend and maintain flight level 280. Descending to flight level 280, Southwest 653. Ziggy Air 2 Tree RJ, descend and maintain flight level 110.
Descend and maintain flight level 110. Ziggy Air November 120, Romeo Juliet.
Ziggy Air 2 Tree RJ, descend and maintain flight level 110.
Whoopsie daisy. So let's talk a little bit about the Aleutian Islands. Because this particular chain of islands is pretty cool. I mean, if you look at the map, what it actually is I don't know, some kind of it's a huge chain of islands that almost goes to I don't know if this is China or Russia. No, it's Russia. You can almost basically do island hopping from America to Russia, and it should actually be it should be a fun adventure to do this. Fly all the islands from America to Russia. You could do that with a small airplane because there are so many little islands which actually have little airfields or airports, as you can see right here. And the next one would be here at the Achka Island. And then the next one would be here at Kodiak. That's actually quite a big airport. And the next one would be on the Russian side. I guess at some point there's going to be Russia. No, not yet. But there's another airport, and you can basically, you know, just fly the entire route until you come to Russia. So that's pretty cool. But we're going to do this today in the next couple of weeks and follow this route. And I think we're going to see a lot of very nice landscape. Actually, there are wildlife refuges and nice places to land and take a look at. That should be awesome. And we're gonna fly through all of the climate zones that Earth has to offer, from polar regions to the hottest
American 106, contact New York Center on 133.2. Switching to New York Center, 133.2, American 106. Speaking at 030.03 and Anthony Center, we are requesting IFR clearance to Kodiak as filed.
The next 34
I am working on that clearance. Stand by.
Let's go to 34
to Kodiak as filed. Direct to Arulu 45243, and we will be identifying now.
So the Aleutian Islands, according to Wikipedia, it's a change of 14 main and larger volcanic islands and 55 smaller ones. Most of the Aleutian Islands belong to the United States, actually to the state of Alaska, with the archipelago encompassing the Aleutians West Census area and the Aleutians East Barrow. And then there are the Commander Islands, which are further to the west, belong to the Russian federal subject of Kamchatka, far east of Russia. And it's called, the islands form part of the Aleutian Arc of the Northern Pacific Ocean and occupy a land area of about 6,821 square miles that extends westward roughly 1,200 miles from the Alaskan Peninsula. So that is pretty cool. Physiographically, this region is a section of a larger Pacific border province, which in turn is part of the larger Pacific mountain system, and the islands are considered to be among the most geographically isolated areas of the Northern Pacific. And we've had battles and skirmishes during the Aleutian Islands campaign of World War II. The Japanese were landing there in June 1942, and that was one of the only two invasions of the United States in North America during World War II. The Philippines, Guam, and Wake Atoll, Pacific territories of the United States, were also invaded, but they do not really belong to the North America part. So, And the climate of the islands is oceanic with moderate and fairly uniform temperatures and heavy rainfall. Fogs are almost constant, and the summer weather is much cooler than southeast Alaska around Sitka. But the winter temperature of the islands and of the Alaskan Panhandle is nearly the same, so you're not going to have severe snow and ice. It's still moderate, so you can basically live there without being cut off from the rest of the world. The area southwest on Unalaska Island has subpolar oceanic climate, and which is characterized by the coldest month averaging above 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 to 3 months averaging above 10 degrees and no significant precipitation differences between seasons. So you can still kind of live there without
radar
too
contact
much of a
Unalaska,
hassle.
altimeter 2962. Climb and maintain 5,000, turn right heading 070, vectors to Powell. Then own navigation.
About the fauna of the Aleutian Islands, there seem to be many large colonies.
070, vector escape.
There seem to be many large colonies of seabirds, all kinds of seabirds. Actually, I haven't heard of any of them. And then you also have, let's see, you've got cattle, all kinds of cattle like caribous, then you've got foxes, and there's the National Wildlife Refuge, as I said earlier, and the Aleutian Islands Wilderness. There are also supposed to be sea otters and kelp forests and urchins. So, and the native people refer to themselves as Unanangan and are now generally known by most non-natives as the Aleut. And the Aleut language is one of the two main branches of the Eskimo Aleut language family. There's a recorded population of about 7,000 people on the islands, of whom 4,000 were living in the main settlement of Unalaska. So the area, the city, the airport that we started at, this is Unalaska, where most of the people actually live. So all right. Let's go ahead and talk to ADC and go on their nerves a little bit. Anchorage Center, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta. How are you doing today?
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, doing well, thank you.
This, no, we don't need to back up. Isolate, maybe this might be a good idea. We don't need taxi lights, neither of this. It's gonna get hot in here, so I'm gonna activate the auto stuff. Air conditioning is on. Also for the, no, we don't need the passenger area, it doesn't matter. And we're gonna turn down the temperature to 21 degrees Celsius because it's getting cold in here, as you can see. We turned everything to auto. And let's hope for the best. So there's a couple of really nice details in the Kodiak. For example, this. I just, I just like
Piper
it.
623, Charlie Echo, say altitude.
Currently at 7500 Piper, 623 Charlie Echo.
013, read back correct.
I like it if you can
Center Alpha Sierra.
lick things and something happens.
Destination change to Papa Alpha Uniform Tokyo.
And this is a
Red Hawk X-ray Golf Sierra. Destination change approved. Cleared to Tokyo Haneda Airport.
A
Expect
beverage
vectors to AKC-1 Bravo arrival.
holder,
Maintain
holder
5,000.
for beverages, and then you've got some lights that you can turn on and off, and then what else? Pitch reading light. So, but this is not. There is a version of the Kodiak which is a little bit more luxurious, where the seats actually also have these armrests, which this one doesn't have. I mean, there's nobody sitting back there, so nobody cares. But I think it's called the executive or some such designation. I don't know. It's called differently. I think this is the Tundra version. So there's the flight time and the block time. It actually records the flight time that you've done with this particular plane. My flight time is still pretty low because I've only recently switched over to flight sim 24. I've only done so many hours in the Kodiak in 2024. I've done a lot more than that in 2020, but I'm building a history. So there's the TAWS inhibit. It's got a terrain awareness system, which basically helps if you have it activated, then the plane is going to tell you when you're about to crash into a mountain. And for some scenarios and some circumstances, you want to deactivate this because otherwise you're gonna get annoyed by the bitching Betty. Betty that's the nickname for the system, that terrain awareness system, or any kind of warning system, basically, that tries to make sure that you don't make any fatal mistakes. And the Betty in this airplane is going to tell you when you are below a certain threshold when it comes to altitude. So it's pretty handy, really, but it can also get on your nerves if you're intentionally flying low, or if you're about to land at a place, at a airport that is higher than 500 feet or whatever threshold the Betty has configured. So let's go ahead and nag Anchorage Center a little more. So Anchorage Center, Delta Foxtrot Delta, can you give me an idea of what kind of sightseeing would be a good idea on the island of Unalaska? Let's see if you can answer that.
FedEx 101 Heavy, reduced speed to 280 knots for sequencing.
Going to 280 knots, FedEx 101 Heavy.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, Unalaska Island offers stunning views of Mount Shishaldin, the highest peak in the Aleutian Islands, and beautiful coastal landscapes. Enjoy your flight.
Well, he does sound enthusiastic, doesn't he? So on Unimak Island, there is this Alaska Maritime, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, Maritime National Wildlife Refuge. That's the thing that I just read out on Wikipedia. So We're going to have to turn right pretty soon to a heading of 64 degrees. And then we'll see. I think we're not going to see a whole lot because of the cloud cover.
Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta. He sure does. Anything else I can assist you with today?
Oops, I had the transmit button on all the time. Yes, he does, doesn't he? Well, Anchorage Center, Delta, Foxtrot Delta. What is your name, sir?
Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta. I'm unable to provide personal information, but I'm here to assist you with your flight.
Well, that isn't very nice. You know that some people could feel offended by the fact that you're not going to provide them with your name. So there is this huge mountain that he was talking about, the highest mountain in the Aleutian Island chain.
Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta, I understand, but I am here to assist you with your flight.
But we're not going to have to change altitude because of this. We're actually, as you can see right here on the display, this little circle here indicates where our nose is, where our flight path is going, where the nose is, no, actually, where the flight path that we're pointing at. So the nose might be pointing to this, but since we have a little bit of crosswind up here, which is pushing us a little bit further to the south, we're actually flying a little with a little bit of a slip to the right. So this is where the nose points at, but this is actually where we're moving. So it's kind of like that. We're moving a little bit to the side, not by much, but it's a bit of there's a bit of crosswind. So we're not going to fly directly to this. As you can see right here, there's this virtual representation of the real world, and we're pointed at slightly right of the highest point of this mountain. This virtual representation is actually very handy.
FedEx 101 Heavy, reduced speed to 280 knots for sequencing.
It comes in very handy.
280 knots, FedEx 101 Heavy.
Comes in very handy if you have IFR conditions, because fortunately it is not simulating cloud cover. It's going to tell you what the world looks like without any visual obstacles. So let's take a look. That's the wilderness. We do have a little bit of turbulence. It's not that much, but it's, if you're a passenger in these kinds of planes, this is not like flying a big jumbo jet. It's the small planes are reacting a lot more sensitively to wind than the big ones, so you're gonna feel if there are turbulence, if there is turbulence in the air. We're doing 152 knots above the ground at an altitude of about 7,550 feet. Let's check the altimeter. Anchorage Center, Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta would like to request the current altimeter setting.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, Cape Sarachef altimeter 29.26.
29.26 Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta. So let's update the. There we go. It's just a little change, not doing a whole lot, but I like to have the most recent values. So there is this little, some people might be wondering why you have another computer here, which is basically showing a stripped down version of this one. So basically all these systems are redundant. So if one of those computers fails, you still have two of the others which can do basically the same thing that this one can do. There, as you can see, the buttons and all the switches and bugs, they're all the same on all three computers, but usually they're set up in a way that in the middle you have the map and the left and the right displays are for the pilot and the co-pilot. But if one of these systems actually fails, then you still have two others that are working, and you also have two of those blocks here, which can do the same things. But if all of this actually fails, if you have a complete blackout of the original Garmin stuff, then you still have this little item here.
Alaska 709, cleared direct to waypoint Bravo Romeo India. Cleared direct to Bravo Romeo India, Alaska 709.
It's basically
Expect RNAV runway 15 approach into Cole Bay. Report when I have the weather and no dam toward Cole Bay. Altimeter 2984, figure November 123, Romeo Juliet.
Are you done talking? So there is this is basically let's call it another backup system. If everything else fails, this is completely separate system, and it's basically the bare minimum that you still need to do IFR. It can actually help you do IFR because you're going to have all the indications that you need to follow, glide paths and approaches and so forth. It's actually fully working with all kinds of settings that you can adjust to do the bare minimum, and that's comforting that you in this entire airplane you have so many systems that are redundant that you're going to have a lot of bad luck in one day that everything fails. And I haven't heard of a situation where all of this failed at the same time. This is got to be very, very bad luck. But better to be safe than sorry, really. So there's another little peak up here. You know what we could do, just for the sake of trying stuff out, we go ahead, and since we're not in a civilization center right here with a lot of complexity, we can actually go ahead and increase the graphic settings. My computer is pretty old, so it can't do it can't do the most taxing settings. We're going to aim for a frame rate of 30, which is still playable, but we could go ahead and do a terrain level of detail to maybe 200. The buildings, the trees, the plants, the rocks, I don't care about that much. but I like a high texture resolution. There you go. Thank you very much. Now we're gonna use a high one. So, volumetric clouds, of course. Let's increase the quality of those as well. We don't need no ray tracing. That's gonna cost a lot of performance. Depth of field is off and all that kind of stuff. So, go back. Let's see how this affects the quality of... The clouds look better, actually. They look better. The performance doesn't seem to be a lot worse. The clouds look a lot better now, which is nice because we have so many of them. Well, at some point I'm going to definitely have to get a better graphics card.
American 350, traffic alert, climb immediately to flight level 340. Climbing immediately to flight level 340, American 350.
For FS 2020 it wasn't necessary to have such a very fast computer, but for 2024 it is necessary. The performance is a lot worse than 2020, at least from my experience. Anchorage Center, Delta Foxtrot Delta. What can you tell me about Falls Pass Airport?
Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta. I'm sorry, I don't have information on Falls Pass Airport. Please refer to your charts or other resources for details.
Well, he didn't even write it correctly. Falls Pass, it's Falls Pass. Let's try to pronounce it more clearly. Anchorage Center, Delta Foxtrot Delta. What can you tell me about the airport of Falls Pass? No, he won't. He just doesn't want to recognize the airport. Then I'm gonna have the last resort is the ICAO code. The music is about to put me to sleep. Anchorage Center, give me information about the airport of Papa Alpha Kilo Foxtrot.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, refer to your charts or other resources for details on PAKF.
How unfortunate. I'll do that, Delta Foxtrot Delta.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, roger that.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? Woola munder, woola munder. Look at that. This is actually pretty nice. It looks very nice. That might be volcanic. That looks like volcanic origin. Looks like lava's been flowing and cooling down and freezing. Unfortunately, we don't see that much because of the cloud cover. Oh, look at that. We have a rainbow. Isn't that nice? It's got to be raining somewhere. A rainbow.
American 789, descend and maintain flight level 270.
Descending to flight level 270, American 789.
So, about a bit more information about the Kodiak, actually, because I just like to talk about this plane. It's so awesome. At least I mean, there are many very great planes on this planet, but I have decided that I like the Kodiak a whole lot, and we can talk about the performance of this thing. It's actually, it was, let me take a look at Wikipedia, because I don't have all the things in my, on the top of my head. So basically, it's as you can see, it's a high wing, unpressurized, single engine turboprop, and if you're flying above an altitude of, I think, what was the threshold, 14,000 feet, you're going to have to put on oxygen. There's also, as you can see, there's an oxygen system on this airplane, and you can plug in a little oxygen tube here, and then you're going to have to put there's a something that you can put over your head in front of the nose, so you're going to get some oxygen flowing into your nose. To help you keep a clear head. Oh, look at that. This is actually something that where that's actually IFR weather. Since we're in a simulator, this is not the real world. I'm not going to start with IFR, but this would be a reason to start to follow IFR procedures. We might get a little bit of turbulence once we're flying through the clouds, and there's not a whole lot happening here. Yeah, so the design of the Kodiak began in the late 90s, actually in 1999. And it first flew in 2004. The first deliveries were in January 2008, and by 2021 300 were delivered to all kinds of clients all over the world. And oh, there it is. There is a special executive summit interior which you can choose in Flight Simulator. And this is the seats are a little bit more luxurious, so you can do some sightseeing tours with VIPs. In 2019, the Kodiak was originally developed by an aircraft company which was called Quest Aircraft. If you guys have been following Ryan, the missionary bush pilot, he's flying a
Southwest 887, maintain Mach 78.
Maintaining Mach 78, Southwest 887.
Oh, there we've got a little bit of turbulence. So Ryan, the missionary bush pilot, he's flying a Kodiak 100, which was still labeled to be a Quest product from the Quest Aircraft Company. So it's a little bit older, that particular plane, or the planes that his company is flying. Because in 2019 the aircraft company called Daher, which is from France, they basically acquired Quest, and then since then the Kodiak is being marketed as being a Daher aircraft. Actually, they introduced a new version which is called the Daher Kodiak 900. Look at these. Look at these peaks here. They're even higher than we are flying right now. It's beautiful. So they introduced a new version of the Kodiak, which is called the Kodiak 900, which is quite a little bit bigger than the 100, and it doesn't have the same kind of... It's got a lot more capacity for passengers and stuff like that, but it's a lot less capable as a STOL aircraft, short takeoff landing. So if you're really into bush flying, the Kodiak 900 is not the perfect choice, of course. Look at this mountain, it looks beautiful. But I doubt that it would have, that it actually would have, as you can see there are trees up here. I'm not sure about that, if that's happening in real life. There is the, oh, we've got a triple rainbow. Look at that. One here, there's the next one, and there's another one, stacked on top of each other. So this is a rain cloud, obviously. And we can see, the rainbow. It's very obvious. This is actually very nice. Okay, so the Daher 900, the Kodiak 900 it's obviously more of a passenger plane, or a bigger and more luxurious version of the Kodiak 100. It's even more luxurious than the 100 if you're using the Summit interior. But as I said, it's not as good in doing bush flying. So the 100 can basically take on 10 people, 10 passengers. You've got a 750 horsepower engine, a Pratt & Whitney Canada engine, and if I remember correctly, it doesn't really say in Wikipedia, but if I remember correctly, the takeoff performance is like that it can take off from a field that is like 950 to 1,000 feet long, so about 330 meters of takeoff runway you need at the minimum, which is
November
an awesome
6072, Bravo Charlie climb and maintain 10,000. Climbing to 10,000, November 672, Bravo Charlie.
Rain. We're going to change our heading to 58 degrees. Oh, it's raining heavily. Look at that. Where was I? Yeah, the takeoff performance is incredible for such a big plane. The Cessna 208 Grand Caravan isn't as good as this one, at the Kodiak. And the landing performance is even better. I'm not sure how much runway you actually need. I think like 600 feet or something. But you basically can land on a dime, considering the weight and the basically that it's not a small aircraft by any means. I mean, it's not a 152 or anything like that, but it's not a little what are these called, the Piper Cub. It's not a Piper Cub, but it's got an impressive performance for a plane that big. So And one of the things that the Kodiak is really, I mean, it's obvious, but one of the things that the Kodiak is very good at is bush flying. So it's actually one of the preferred aircraft for companies like the one that Ryan, the missionary bush pilot, is flying for, because he's flying on Papua New Guinea, and that area heavily relies on local aircraft traffic to help bring goods and I don't know, people from place to place, but because in the jungle on Papua New Guinea, actually there are, in many places, especially in the highlands, there aren't any roads that you could follow. The people will have to trek from one place to another, and sometimes it can take days for even the shortest route. And instead they're going to use planes, which basically means they're going to be in the air for about 10 minutes to save 1 or 2 days of trekking by foot. So there's no question that airplanes are really necessary and very helpful on PNG. So in this kind of setting with the bush flying and to remote places and runways that are not necessarily very well maintained, or grass airfields and stuff like that, the Kodiak excels at. It's really good. So that's a preferred aircraft of like those companies like
Southwest 653 descend and maintain flight level 280. Descending to flight level 280, Southwest 653.
Who do missionary work at remote places, because it's reliable, it's easy to maintain, it's not that expensive considering the market of similar aircraft, and well, I can understand they like it because I like it as well, at least the virtual representation of it. Yeah. So the next island that we're gonna fly over, unfortunately we're not really able to see a whole lot. That's a bit disappointing, but that's how it goes sometimes. I still prefer to fly in real weather because it just feels more realistic. So you can see the shoreline down there of the island of, what island is this? I don't know actually. It's the Alaskan Peninsula. Izembek National Wildlife Refuge. Not sure. We're gonna fly over King Ko pretty soon. That's another airport. Another local airport. What does our fuel say? We are at still over 1/3, so we're good to go for a while. So in these conditions, you'd usually switch to IFR, but I don't want to. I don't have a final destination for today that we could actually tell them. So we're going to remain VFR. Pretend the weather isn't that bad. much looking forward to. Actually, SimWorks Studios is currently developing a 2024 version of the Kodiak. I'm very much looking forward to this because I think that we're going to get fixed the problem that you cannot use METAR or any of the other options, which are very helpful. And maybe some new additions to the feature set. I mean, this thing can actually, if I remember correctly, this thing is using an internal special version of the Garmin
Bonanza
system.
762 Alpha Bravo, maintain VFR below 7,000. Maintaining VFR below 7,000. Bonanza 762 Alpha Bravo.
It's using an internal representation of the Garmin system, which is not identical to the one in Microsoft Flight Simulator, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong here, because I don't know what happens if you use this in 2024. But and there seem to have been compatibility issues early on with earlier versions of the Kodiak, where at some point they decided, I think, to have a special version of this, of the GPS system. So it's not, I'm sorry, it's not as broken. I think it's still, I still consider it to be really a privilege to be able to kind of use a simulator like this at home in a amateur setting. I mean, looking at the fact that you can actually explore the world basically within a flight simulator of this kind. I mean, yes, of course, the textures are pretty muddy in some cases, and it doesn't perfectly reflect the real world, but it's pretty close considering earlier iterations of
Kodiak
the
Delta
flight simulator.
Foxtrot Delta, contact anchorage departure on 118.6.
Anchorage departure on 118.6 for Delta Foxtrot Delta. Good day. So let's switch over. Anchorage departure Kodiak, November Delta Foxtrot Delta, with you about 25 miles southwest of King Cove at 8,000 feet.
Kodiak November Delta Foxtrot Delta, Anchorage departure. Good morning. False pass altimeter 29.23.
Altimeter 29.23 Delta Foxtrot Delta. So we have adjusted the altimeter so they know what false pass is. King Cove. Let's turn to the left a little bit, so we might be able to see a bit of King Cove. Look at the weather. You can hardly recognize anything. It's not raining as it seems, but the fog or the clouds are so dense that you can't see anything.
FedEx 1243, have your approach descend and maintain 4,000 cleared to direct column, join 27 localizer. Descending to 4,000 direct column, joining 27 localizer, 1243.
Woola Manor. Let's see what we can fumble around in the system. I still haven't been using the Garmin system to its full potential because I just didn't have the patience to do this. But in situations like these where you can't see anything outside anyway, it's always a good time to fumble around a little bit. So here's an option to choose from if you have some kind of emergency, or if you want to make a quick bathroom break, whatever. You can pick up a list of the nearest airports. In this case, it's the airport of King Cove. No, it's not King Cove. It's actually the one that is closer is Cold Bay. That is Cold Bay, and this is King Cove. So these are, as you can see, the closest runway. This one actually has ILS, which is pretty nice for bad weather situations like this one here. And then there is something where you can put in some extra I don't actually really know what this is all about. This is obviously, there are some values that's about speed. The best glide speed currently is at 97 knots probably, and I don't know what else, but there are minimums that you can declare. For example, I want 500 feet minimum, and then Bitching Betty is going to tell us if we are below that threshold, I think. This is the transponder stuff, ADF for the classic navigation. CDI, we could switch to CDI if we were using, we could switch to the GPS part if we had some kind of track that we could follow, but we don't. That's the primary flight display. We can switch to standard barometer, which we don't want to do. There's DME, bearing, alt units. I'm not sure what this is doing, so let's not go ahead and get ahead of ourselves. As you can see, there's a couple of things that you can change about the primary display. I don't want to change them at all. There are alerts if you're nearing certain areas, it's going to alert, or if you have other kinds of alerts. I'm not sure what kind of alerts there actually are in the aviation business, but you can get messages here. And then then you can choose a direct path. You can choose in the airport, and then it's going to give you a path directly to this airport. Then you can see this
Lufthansa 442, turn right, heading 070, descend to 4,000. Right to 070, descending to 4,000, Lufthansa 442.
Flight plans with different waypoints in between. You can load these up there are slots for SD cards. You can actually import flight plans, I think, not here in the simulator, but in the real world. And then you can, there's procedures if you want to. There are certain procedures that are existing in the system that you can choose from, and for example, approaches, ILS approaches, certain kinds of different approaches that are from different directions depending on the airport that you're flying to, and so forth. So that's the Garmin system. It's pretty comprehensive, but that's only a virtual representation, which does not have all of the features that you get in the real aircraft. So they did a good job at putting in many different things, but it's not there yet. And I'm not sure if it's ever going to be, because I mean, it's still only a simulator. Yeah, that here, by the way, is the trim wheel. For those who don't know the Kodiak, this is the trim wheel. I think it's pretty similar to the setup of the Grand Caravan. You also might have a trim wheel there. On my yoke, I have a rocker switch, which is basically a representation of the trim wheel. If I pull it back, it's going to trim the nose up, and if I push it forward, the nose trim is going to go down. And this is the trim wheel, with which you can do it in the real aircraft and everything else. I mean, this is the throttle lever. This is the RPM lever. This is the right one here is for fuel. Then this is the fuel valve, shut-off valve. If you desperately and quickly need to shut off the entire fuel flow, you can just pull it up, and then this thing is going to starve. Yeah, and so forth. And then you have, of course, you have lots of different circuit breakers here. If one of these systems fail, or if you need to turn one off and cut it off from the power, then you can just pull some of the circuits. That actually works in the simulator to a certain degree. You can pull one of those. I haven't actually tried, but it seems that some of these buttons are really actually working. So if you pull one of those circuits, if you pull one of those circuit breakers, it's gonna deactivate the system that is connected with it, which is very nice. There's a parking brake, generators, and so forth. There's a stall warning in case you have a stall situation. You can turn the warning off, of course, if you want to, but most of the time you don't want to. That's basically the Kodiak. It's an awesome plane.
Piper 582 Bravo, cleared direct to the VOR, climb to 5,500.
So
direct
to the left,
VOR, climbing to
we should be able
5,500,
to see
582 Bravo.
King Cove. It's down here somewhere. Should be here. At this place there, you can see it. This is the airport of King Cove, and that's also the city of King Cove. This entire area here. It's actually a pretty big airport. But we're not going to land there. We're going to go on and fly to Sandpoint, which is on Unga Island. That one also has a seaplane port. We're going to change our direction to like 69 degrees pretty soon. You know what, just to spice up things a little bit, we're going to land at the next airport on our route, Sandpoint, just to have a little bit more entertainment, because flying on autopilot is not that exciting. It's nice to watch the area and talk about stuff, but it's also very nice to just do approaches and try to land. Let's see about the weather. If the weather is going to be very bad at this place, we're not going to land. Otherwise, we're going to have to do IFR. And I do not have an instrument rating yet, at least in FS 2024. Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta would like to request information about the weather at Sandpoint Airport, Papa Alpha Sierra Delta. Hey there, Skin Flints. I'm flying on West Europe.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta Sandpoint Airport automated weather observation. Wind 340 at 10. Visibility 10. Sky conditions broken at 1600 feet, broken at 2100 feet, overcast at 3500 feet. Temperature 3, dew point 1, altimeter 2923.
Oh, that was the automated weather observation. Okay.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, roger, understand.
West U, yes. Are you gonna join in? I mean, I could pick you up at some place. I could turn around and wait for you at King Cove. That's the nearest airport right now. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna turn around and wait for you.
Cirrus 1234 X-ray cleared for the RNAV. Follow the American B737. Cleared RNAV following the American 1234 X-ray.
Let's turn the heading back in the opposite direction. Very nice to have company. You could also, if you want to, if you're not intending to, I can actually see your label here in the sky. If you want to, you can join on the Discord server. You don't have to, but sometimes it might be nice to be able to talk instead of type. Test. Yes, it does work. So let's see, where are you? There you are, down there. Skin Flint. A black square turbine Duke. I admit I've never heard of that plane. I'm going to fly manually and reduce my altitude, prop full forward, reduce the throttle, and let's make a quick let's reduce the altitude a little bit so you can catch up more easily. Did you buy that plane on... No, you can't buy it on the marketplace. I think it's not ready. The marketplace in FS 2024 isn't ready for purchasing third-party add-ons, I think. Seems like you're about to take off.
Cessna 421 Charlie Mike, turn left, heading 200. Descend and maintain 3000. Left 200, down to 3000, 421 Charlie Mike.
Okay. But it seems to be working in 2024 then. It's the same with Kodiak 100. It was developed for 2020, but it works quite decently in 2024. There are some features that don't work, for example the Meta-R stuff in the Garmin system, but apart from that it's working nicely. Okay, I'm going to turn back to the original course. That would be about, let's see, like 69 degrees. I think you're going to be able to catch up. What is the Vmax for your plane? Mine's about 175, something like that, knots. Okay, so you're going to be able to catch up. Not a big deal. I'm going to fly it with about 150 knots to save some fuel. So I'm going to reactivate the autopilot here with a climb rate of about 1,500 feet. And a climb speed of 110 or a little less. Nice of you to join in. Where did you find this? At the flightsim.com forums? Oh, okay. Nice. So it works. I was wondering if there would be anybody interested on Twitch and doing stuff like that. What I'm actually doing here, I don't know, then if you haven't come from the flights, from the forums or website or any place else, what I'm doing here is flying a tour from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego in
FedEx 1210, fly heading 280, descend and maintain 5,000. 280, down to 5,000, FedEx 1210.
And this is just the beginning, actually. So it's going to take a couple of weeks, I guess, until I end up on the Falklands. And there's a couple of people who have been flying with me during the last couple of months. We've been doing all kinds of tours, partly based on real life events or books, and this one here is something that I made up myself. But it's always nice to have some kind of goal, and I just love to explore. So I'm not going to fly the big jets. I like to fly the smaller ones. The weather isn't ideal at 8,000 feet, but I'm going to stay at this altitude because if there's ceilings broken up, I like to take a look at the landscape down there. Where are you from, if I may ask? Kentucky. You're not the only one, actually. There's another guy who I have been flying with lately. He's also from Kentucky, I think. His nick is Red Baron. I'm gonna have to get a hold of him because I changed my nick. He might not be aware of that. No, he's from Canada. I'm not sure. He's from Kentucky or Kansas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Red Baron. I don't remember. So it's about afternoon at your place. It's pretty late here already, I think. Because I'm from Germany, and it's 10 p.m. here. 10:30 p.m. Yeah. Early afternoon, late afternoon, basically. It's funny that most of the time, there have been all kinds of people. Well, no, not all kinds of people, but a couple of people. There were not many who've been flying with me, but the few that did. They were from all over the world. Some people were from the United States. One was from France, one from Portugal, and funnily enough, most of the people that are talking to me and contacting me here, they're from the States because it's early. When I fly pretty late for you, and considering the European times here, it's pretty late. Most people are not up that late, and but in the U.S. it's still a good time to do stuff.
Lufthansa 442, turn right, heading 070, descend to 4,000. Right to 070, descending to 4,000, Lufthansa 442.
Oh, there you are. I have to switch the view that I can see you properly. External view, let's see. You're still like 10 miles away. That's one of the things that I like about 2024 actually, is that you get information about the distance to other players, because that was something that 2020 was missing desperately. When you wanted to fly with other people, that you did not have an idea how far they are away. So I like the fact that you get the distance. 69 degrees. The next airport on the route will be Sandpoint, Papa Alpha Sierra Delta on Unga Island. Yep, I can see you. I have labels turned on for exactly this reason, because sometimes if people join in, I like to have an idea where they are, and I can just make sure that nobody gets lost. But the one thing that I do not like about labels is that there are boats on the water which have their own labels. Why the hell are they doing this? I mean, this is not a boat simulator. Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta. I'm sorry, Delta. No, we are Delta Foxtrot Delta. Would you kindly tell me a joke, please? Sometimes SayIntentions is
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
Sometimes it's sometimes the controllers in SayIntentions actually are cooperative. Have you heard of? Do you know SayIntentions? Do you know what this is?
Janet 294, cleared for residential chemtrail ops at or above flight level tree 50. Chemtrail ops approved. Janet 294, have a great day.
I said that that sometimes SayIntentions. I'm using a software which is called SayIntentions. I don't know if you know this. It's some add-on, some artificial intelligence add-on. And sometimes it's actually cooperative. Yeah, it's pretty expensive for what it does, really, but currently I'm experimenting with it. Yes, it is not bad. It makes mistakes, and it does have its bugs, and there's stuff in there that you don't necessarily need. For example, there's some kind of mission system which is called SkyOps, where you can talk to a certain frequency and tell them you want a cargo mission or a search and rescue mission, all that kind of stuff. I did like to experiment with it, but in the end, what I'm looking for is a system that is able to do VFR, freestyle VFR, basically. And as to my knowledge, SayIntentions is the only AI system that currently can do this halfway decently. Let's not call it properly, let's call it halfway decently. It's okay, I guess, but it's pretty expensive. It costs like $20 per month. Not everybody's willing to pay that, and I'm not gonna buy a yearly subscription, because I know that at some point I'm gonna be fed up, I guess. And there are other products. If you know SayIntentions, you've probably heard about Beyond ADC and Pilot to ADC and stuff like that. They're all working on some kind of some kind of artificial intelligence in the background. But SayIntentions was the first one to have actually published a system based on okay, you go ahead. Yeah, so that is I'm experimenting with it, but it's not perfect really. Adopt, you said. Let me take a look. That should be where is it? Let's see it on the map.
Piper 4-5, Charlie Papa, cleared for the visual 2-4, maintain 9 knots.
Oh, there it
Cleared
is.
for the
I
visual
can see.
2-4, maintaining 9 knots, 4-5, Charlie
Well,
Papa.
I'm still heading directly towards Sandpoint. I'm just gonna continue my tour here. The next, there's a flight plan that I did. It's actually available to download on the website, but I think your intentions are a little bit different from mine. But the tour basically goes from the next waypoint will be Sandpoint, and then Perryville and Port, what is it called? Port Hayden. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna fly tonight because it's already pretty late. Maybe one more waypoint. Probably will be Perryville. Actually, I could put this into the... Perryville has the code Papa Alpha Papa Echo. Let's go ahead and put this in Papa Alpha. Papa Echo. There you go. And then we can actually go ahead and switch to nav and fly a direct route. What kind of planes do you prefer in Flight Simulator? Are you, I mean, obviously you're flying a turboprop right now, but are you more like a low and slow flyer or a jet type of guy? It's snowing. General aviation, okay. Same here. I have one of the tours that we did last couple of months was the flight of Cannibal Queen, and that was with a Boeing Stearman, a very nice module from DC. It was pretty cheap actually, but the model is nice and the flight model is nice, and there's a free add-on which enhances the flight model even more. I thought it was pretty good. Of course it was designed for 2020, but it does work in 24 as well. Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta is heading to Perryville, Papa Alpha Papa Echo. Sometimes SayIntentions takes a long time to process.
Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, radar contact established. Continue on course to Perryville.
United 1244 cleared the visual 27. Cleared for the visual 27, United 1244.
Have you been flying for some kind of VA, virtual airline? Yeah, the career mode is basically, it's a mess. That they even publish it like this was pretty daring. It's really not a finish. The whole, I mean, the free flight works good enough, but the career mode, or some of the, I don't know, many of these, let's call it add-ons that are not really necessary for the flight simulator. This is all very unfinished stuff. I mean, there are virtual airlines out there, like, I don't know, there are many of them where you have a system you can register, and then you need to use some kind of ACAR software to submit flight information and stuff like that, but it's not everybody's desire to be connected like this. Let's turn left a little bit to avoid the cloud cover.
Gulfstream 9er Hotel Lima, maintain present speed, Super H380 behind you. Maintaining speed, 9er Hotel Lima.
let's go even lower. Let's go to altitude of about 4,000. Then we're not going to have to deal with that many clouds. Okay. Yeah, well, it's cold. It's winter time, actually. I have turned on pretty much everything that I have. Pitot, heat, and windshield, and just to make sure that I don't ice up entirely. And we have rain in between as well at some point. What I really do like is the fact that we have seasons now. It's awesome to be flying over snow and ice covered landscapes. That's pretty awesome. Let's go back to nav mode. Here we go. It's not working. Let's hit enter. Go. So let's see, for Perryville we have, what kind of approaches do we have? Let's see. Let's see about the traffic pattern, that's one thing. We have 60 knots coming from the north.
KLM 945 cleared for the visual approach runway. Niner report 3 mile final.
02.
Cleared visual Niner will report 3 mile final KLM 945.
And we're going to do a right hand pattern. Alrighty, so that's that, and now let's see about there's might actually be a VFR capable right now. The cloud cover's not too bad. See what kind of approaches the GPS has. Select approach, Perryville, we have the GPS, the RNAV approach. What else? Visual 20 and 02. Let's say 02 it is. Straight in. That's all right. There we go. $50 miles to go. Whoopsie daisy. Would also probably be pretty fun to do a longer tour with seaplanes, where you have to desperately find seaplane parts. I mean, in Alaska, that's not a big problem because there are many of those, but in the rest of the world, it's not that easy. In Germany, I'm not sure if there are any seaplane parts in Germany. Maybe a handful at some lakes or something, but it's not usual. I love Alaska. I've been flying for a VA, which is called Fly AKA. A couple of hundred of hours. They have all kinds of routes, but they're concentrating on Alaska and Canada. So
Air Canada 763, reduce speed to 200 knots. Contact tower on 118.7. Slowing to 200 knots. Switching to 118.7. Air Canada 763.
they have a lot of routes throughout Alaska and Canada. And also some kind of themed tours where you get some nice badges once you've completed a tour. There's a rainbow here, another one. I've seen a couple of rainbows today. What we would need in this nice little Kodiak would be a bathroom. For such a big tour, it would be nice to have at least a toilet. Put on autopilot and then go pee. Oh, you're not far away. I can actually see you. Like 0.76 nautical miles. You're catching up. Let's activate an external view so that it can do a proper screenshot. With view on it once you're closer. I'm curious, is this thing being streamed? I guess not, because it doesn't belong to the... Well, it looks like a citation or something. I'm not sure. looks like a king air, maybe. Come closer. Unfortunately, they if you don't have the original model in your library, you're always going to see some kind of replacement. And in your case, this might be OEA warping. It looks a bit like it was a king air, something like that. My network connection is unstable. No, it isn't. The heck?
Diamond 786, Juliet Kilo, climb to 5,500, contact center on 124.7. 5,500, switching to 124.7786, Juliet Kilo.
I lost my internet connection somehow, so you're ahead of me right now. I'm not sure what happened. I've had a couple of instabilities over the last couple of days, so Yeah. I don't know. So it doesn't look a lot like this would be a visual approach. Let's... well, we have still a couple of miles to go, but it looks rather IFR-ish. Let's try to do an IFR approach. I haven't done this properly, and K100 so far. Let's go ahead and do this one. Go. Activate. And we're gonna go for a Kali. Where is it? There it is, and then it should be directly. Yep. Warning, when illuminated, both fuel selector valves are off. Okay, good to know.
Plane 69er Sierra Mike, maintain 4,000, expect vectors for the visual 24. Maintaining 4,000, expecting vectors for the visual 2469er Sierra Mike.
Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, about 20 miles west of the Akali, with the intention to land at Perryville. Oh, it takes forever for this
Kodiak
thing
Delta
to
Foxtrot
answer.
Delta, roger, continue to Perryville. Report when you have the airport in sight.
We could ask him for IFR clearance. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's just do it. Anchorage departure, Delta Foxtrot Delta would like to get IFR clearance to Perryville.
I hear you. 1 sec, maintain VFR. Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta, before you can fly IFR, you'll need to have your SimBrief username set up, and you'll need to file your IFR flight plan on SimBrief. SimBrief is free. Enter your SimBrief username in the app settings. If you'd like to fly VFR, just let me know.
Well, that didn't work. That was easy. Let's just do it the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna have to set up SimBrief. I didn't do that. I do have an account, but I didn't put it in SayIntentions. All right. Are you still ahead of me? I guess so. At least I cannot see your label outside anywhere. Behind me, okay. How the heck? I'm gonna have to switch to an external view. Let's see. Oh, there you are. A Sobo passive aircraft generic. Okay. There we go. Really? That is a completely
Southwest 521
helpless
contact tower
title.
118.3. Switching to 118.3 Southwest 521.
Okay. It's raining cats and dogs. I'm gonna pick the barracks as well. But you know, the weather might be a little bit shitty, but the view outside is awesome. The light, the environment looks really cool in settings like these. It's very dramatic. Yep.
Navy on 635, Juliet Whiskey, right to 090, climb to 7,000. Right to 090, climbing to 7,000, 635, Juliet Whiskey.
One mile away. A generic Turo 2 engine. Holy Lord of Claptrap. So it's what an epic name. But 20 knots of headwind. Yep, that it is. That's true. Unfortunately, we don't see that much right now, at least depending on where you're looking, but there are so many clouds here. But down there, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to, I'm not sure about the text.
American 1877 traffic at 11 o'clock and 10 miles westbound, 5,400 for 2,000 is a 757. Expect to follow.
That I have.
Following the traffic. American 1877.
the rest I'm going to fly manually. Let's take a look. That here. Drop foot forward. Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta, Foxtrot Delta has the airport in sight. Entering final runway 02, correction, 02. A little bit ahead of time, but
Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot, Delta, runway 02 is not active. Expect runway 19er for landing.
Well, he doesn't really know where I'm flying to, does he?
Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot, Delta, your destination is Kodiak, noted as Paddy Q. Confirm if this is correct.
That is incorrect, Delta Foxtrot Delta. I did tell him you'd see those are some of the bugs that I mentioned earlier.
Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot, Delta, your destination is noted as Kodiak PADQ. Please confirm or provide the correct destination.
The correct destination would be Papa, let me take a look, Papa Alpha Papa Echo. It's Perryville.
Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot, Delta, roger, your destination is Perryville. Continue as planned.
Well, let's not care about this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about, so lowering the flaps to 20 degrees. Let's try one more time. Anchorage departure, Kodiak Delta Foxtrot Delta is entering final runway 02 at Perryville.
Kodiak, Delta Foxtrot, Delta, runway 02 is not active. Expect runway 19er for landing.
Oh Lord, it doesn't get it.
Delta 1721, maintain 170 knots to McGee. 170 to McGee, Delta 1721.
We are. Let's see if they have some kind of parking spot. We did have a little bit of crosswind here, actually. Not too much, but... you are, right behind me. Let's find us a nice parking spot. Right there at the building, I guess. It's kind of covered in, I don't know, in tarmac. It's sunken into the tarmac here. Poor guys. So let's turn stuff off here. Get some fresh air. Mr. Skinflints, there you are. With your awesome, I don't know. There's, look at that. You have the main gear is down, but your nose wheel isn't down. You're kind of sitting there. What kind of plane is that? Generic plane? I don't know. A Pilatus, okay. Yeah, well, doesn't matter really. I mean, it's still fun. Doesn't matter if it's a generic plane or not. So that was good. Let's see how many more miles I have to go. About still like 10,000 miles.
Southwest tree 99 or reduce speed to 180, then descend and maintain 4,000.
But that was a nice start. So thank you for flying along. Awesome. Oh, I could get out of the plane as well. How do I exit the plane? I didn't remember the shortcut. Your avatar looks quite... Oh, no. It's the LOD stuff. Your hair isn't quite up to the task. I'm not sure. You have custom buttons, yeah. I never get out of the plane usually, but I can do it this time. Let's take a look at the settings. Controls and keyboard, something like that. There might be a way to do this. The player character, interactions, camera, no movement, set crouch. Why in God's name should I have to crouch? Toggle run. Okay. I don't know. Well, anyway. Oh, look at that. What a nice view. So, I'm gonna go to bed now. It's like 11:30 here. It was oh, you're balding. Yes, you are, actually, depending on which direction I look at you, but yes, you're balding. Thank you for flying along. That was a pleasure. So whenever you're feeling like it, you are very welcome to join in. Take care.